The social and environmental challenges which the world faces are complex and multifaceted. Very often, solutions are beyond the capacity of one country or one company to resolve, however large or powerful they might be.
Lasting solutions to global problems no longer lie in the hands of governments alone. The United Nations of the 21st century must think in terms of networks and coalitions.
Success requires coalitions of governments, corporations, NGOs and academics to work in partnership.
We need partnership with this private sector, which is the global engine of growth and the primary source of new investment.
A number of these public-private partnerships are beginning to demonstrate success and are doing so at global scale. The Gavi Alliance is on track to immunise 250 million children against fatal diseases in 73 of the world's poorest countries by 2015.
The critical thing about partnerships and making them successful is bringing people from different sectors to work on the problem, because the problem needs to be dealt with both at the local level, often at the national level, with different groups. At Gavi, what we try to do is bring everybody from civil society working at the local level to governments to improve their delivery of vaccines to the private sector working on those vaccines themselves. By bringing all those groups together and having them work together, we have a much stronger alliance than we would if any one sector was trying to do it alone.
M-Pesa has made mobile phone-based banking commonplace in Kenya and is being rolled out to other countries such as Tanzania, Afghanistan, South Africa and India. In sub-Saharan Africa, where 80% of adults are without bank accounts, it is having a significant social impact by making basic banking and money transfer services available to low-income consumers.
If you look at M-Pesa in Kenya and Tanzania, the major reason why it's successful is because a tremendous amount of passion and dedication has gone into making it happen. It's not something where you launch it and you put it on the shelf of the shop and somebody will come in and buy it. You actually have to push it extremely hard. And that takes a tremendous amount of effort, dedication and money. And you have to believe in it.
Sun, Scaling Up Nutrition, have mobilised a coalition of 33 countries to work with multinational food companies and hundreds of other partners to create a real movement for addressing malnutrition, especially in children.
What really mattered was bringing together a whole variety of different actors: governments, civil society, business, community organisations, United Nations family, donor entities, not working separately but working together around a single national plan for nutrition with a single set of expected results. What was extraordinary about it was that government said we'll be at the centre and the rest, the other partners, come behind and support us.
The Global Public-Private Partnership for Hand Washing is working with governments and NGOs in Asia and Africa to promote hygiene. In Indonesia, Unilever has partnered with the Department of Education to make hygiene part of the curriculum. The results are impressive.
The ultimate objective of this program is to coherently reduce the morbidity and mortality, especially for children under 5. This is really a national health agenda and also reflected in the MDG goal.
Since 2010, Unilever has reached 119 million children in 15 countries, on the way to achieving its target of 1 billion by 2015.
Kami bersepakat untuk melakukan kemitraan dengan swasta karena kami memiliki tujuan yang sama, yaitu untuk meningkatkan derajat kesehatan anak Indonesia, terutama melalui penanaman perilaku hidup bersih dan sehat sejak awal, sejak dini pada anak usia sekolah.
Each party has its own expertise. One simply cannot do all. Therefore, the partnership brings synergy to all various expertise to create bigger impact.
Partnerships tackling specific environmental issues are rarer. Two that are showing real promise are the Tropical Forest Alliance and the 2030 Water Resources Group.
Every second of every day, the world loses an acre of tropical forest. Deforestation represents about 15% of all greenhouse gases globally. And that's about the same amount as comes from all of transportation combined. 4 crops in 4 countries account for half of that deforestation. So if we can just focus on those 4 crops in those 4 countries, we can reduce deforestation by half.
The majority of the global trade in these commodities is actually controlled by a very small number of companies, perhaps as few as 30. That's why in 2010, the 400 companies of the Global Consumer Goods Forum publicly committed to work towards a zero net deforestation by 2020. The combined revenues of these companies exceeds $3 trillion.
The Tropical Forest Alliance is a partnership between the Consumer Goods Forum, the US government, and a range of NGOs. Its goal is to eliminate deforestation from our supply chains by 2020.
We're getting to a point where we have in place all the necessary to tackle this complex and enormous problem. If we use these forces wisely, we have a real chance of making a big difference, reducing CO2 emissions, contributing to food security, and securing the prosperity and livelihoods of the millions of people who live in forested areas and depend on these crops. Now that's what I call the power of partnerships.
The 2030 Water Resources Group is a partnership that seeks to support countries in their implementation of good water stewardship practices.
As of today, we are using 10% more water that is sustainable in the longer term. We then looked forwards what would be the water consumption in the year 2030, and we saw that if nothing would change, we would have a major gap between availability of water and water consumption. We were more looking into the area of how we can use the water more efficient. We still have to create more awareness about the urgency of these solutions. If we do not find solutions to the water issue within the next couple of years, we might have a major food crisis. What we saw from the very beginning is that there is not one player alone that can solve this problem. It cannot be solved exclusively by government, it cannot be solved exclusively by NGOs, it cannot be solved exclusively by private enterprise. You really need to have all the efforts of all sectors involved.
Partnerships of this kind are easy to talk about, but hard to deliver. Success requires clarity of purpose and objective, leadership and resources. Each partner, government, industry, civil society, needs to play their role.
Partnerships are finally making it possible to engage the world's poorest people in the formal financial system, even those located in the hardest to reach places. The potential of partnerships to open new frontiers and deliver on the needs of the poor is endless.
Public partners are inclined to take more risks than private companies, so they're willing to put money into things which might be much higher risk or might fail. Secondly, because of who they are, they can also influence the regulatory authorities to help you launch your product.
Untuk mendapatkan kemitraan yang efektif, yang sangat penting adalah melakukan dialog dan komunikasi. Dialog itu harus dilakukan sejak awal, sejak merencanakan program tersebut, pada saat pelaksanaan dan juga pada saat kita melakukan monitoring dan evaluasi dari pelaksanaan kegiatan ini.
This is hundreds and hundreds of organizations working together to scale up nutrition collectively and in synergy, achieving so much more than they could do if they were working alone.
Hard to work culturally, hard to work in terms of aligning interests, but when it happens, it gives you the most valuable types of responses that you can have.
Businesses are increasingly recognizing that although we can take individual action, and we should, we need to work with governments and NGOs and others to give real scale to our efforts.
Public-private partnerships will be critical in delivering the post-2015 development agenda. Bringing together the unique skills and competences of government, industry and NGOs will allow us to tackle problems which are beyond the capacity of any one of these actors operating alone.
As the old saying goes, we're all smarter than any one of us. So if we can get all of us to work on these issues, we'll have a much better chance of achieving success.